California CDL DMV Handbook Audio Edition, Section 2.20 through 2.23. The best way to learn is to listen. We begin with Section 2.20, Accident Procedures. When you are in an accident and not seriously hurt, you need to act to prevent further damage or injury. The basic steps to be taken in any accident are to protect the area, notify authorities, care for the injured, collect required information, report the accident. Now let's go through each step one by one. How to protect the area. The first thing to do at an accident scene is to keep another accident from happening in the same spot. To protect the accident area, if your vehicle is involved in an accident, try to get it to the side of the road. This will help prevent another accident and allow traffic to move. If you are stopping to help, park away from the accident. The area immediately around the accident will be needed for emergency vehicles. Put on your four-way emergency flashers. Set out reflective triangles to warn other traffic. Make sure other drivers can see them in time to avoid the accident. Notify authorities. If you have a cell phone or CB, call for assistance before you get out of your vehicle. If not, wait until after the accident scene has been properly protected. Then phone or send someone to phone the police. Try to determine where you are so you can give the exact location. Care for the injured. If a qualified person is at the accident and helping with the injured, stay out of the way unless you are asked to assist. Otherwise, do the best you can to help any injured parties. Here are some simple steps to follow in giving assistance. Do not move a severely injured person unless the danger of fire or passing traffic makes it necessary. Stop heavy bleeding by applying direct pressure to the wound. Keep the injured person warm. How to gather information. If you were involved in an accident, you will have to file an accident report. Collect the following information for the report: names, addresses, driver's license numbers of other drivers involved in the accident, license plate numbers and types of vehicles involved in the accident, names and addresses of the owners of the other vehicles, description of the damages to the other vehicles or to the property, names and addresses of anyone who was injured or involved in the accident, name, badge number, and agency of any peace officer investigating the accident, names and addresses of witnesses, exact location of the accident, direction of travel of the vehicles involved. Fires. Truck fires can cause damage and injury. Learn the causes of fires and how to prevent them. Know what to do and how to use a fire extinguisher. What are some causes of fires? The following are some causes of vehicle fires. After accidents: spilled fuel, improper use of flares. Tires: underinflated tires and duals that touch. Electrical system: short circuits due to damaged installation or loose connections. Fuel: drivers smoking, improper fueling, loose fuel connections. And the cargo: flammable cargo, improperly sealed or loaded cargo, and poor ventilation. Let's talk about fire prevention. Pay attention to the following. Pay attention to your vehicle inspection, en route inspection, follow safe procedures, monitoring, and caution. For your vehicle inspection, make a complete inspection of the electrical, fuel, and exhaust system, the tires, and the cargo. Be sure to check that the fire extinguisher is charged and ready to go. Now on the en route inspection, check the tires, wheels, and truck body for signs of heat whenever you stop during the trip. Follow safe procedures. Follow correct safety procedures for fueling the vehicle, using brakes, handling flares, and other activities that can cause a fire. Monitoring. Check the instruments and gauges often for signs of overheating, and use the mirrors to look for signs of smoke from the tires of the vehicle. Caution. Use normal caution in handling anything flammable. Firefighting. Know how to fight fires is important. Drivers who do not know what to do have made fires worse. Know how the fire extinguisher works. Study the instructions printed on the fire extinguisher before you need to use it. And here are some procedures to follow in case of a fire. Pull off the road. The first step is to get the vehicle off the road and stop. In doing so, park in an open area away from buildings, trees, bushes, or other vehicles, or anything that might catch fire. Do not pull into a service station. Notify emergency services of your problem and your location. Keep the fire from spreading. How to keep the fire from spreading. Before trying to put out the fire, Make sure that it does not spread any further. With an engine fire, turn off the engine as soon as you can. Do not open the hood if you can avoid it. Shoot foam through the levers, radiator, or from the vehicle's underside. For a cargo fire in a van or box trailer, keep the doors shut, especially if your cargo contains hazardous materials. Opening the van doors will supply fire with oxygen and can cause it to burn very, very fast. Extinguish the fire. Here are some rules to follow in putting out a fire. When using the extinguisher, stay as far away from the fire as possible. Aim at the source or base of the fire, not up in the flames. Use the right fire extinguisher. Detail the type of fire extinguisher to use by class of fire. The B type, the C type fire extinguisher is designed to work on electrical fires and burning liquids. The ABC type is designed to work on burning wood, paper, and cloth as well. Now, water can be used on wood, paper, or cloth, but do not use water on an electrical fire. This can cause shock. Or a gasoline fire. It will spread the flames. A burning tire must be cooled. Lots of water may be required. If you are not sure what to use, especially on a hazardous materials fire, just wait for the firefighters. Position yourself upwind. Let the wind carry the extinguisher to the fire. You don't want blowback in your face. Continue until whatever was burned has been cooled. Absence of smoke or flames does not mean that the fire cannot restart. Now it's time to test your knowledge. I'll ask a few questions, and you should know the answer in your mind. If you do not know the answer, please re-listen to this video. Question number 1. What are some things to do in an accident scene to prevent other accidents? Number 2. Name 2 causes of tire fires. Number 3. What kinds of fires is a BC extinguisher not good for? When using your extinguisher, should you get as close as possible to the fire? And number 5. Name some causes of vehicle fires. Now, these questions may be on your test. If you cannot answer them, please re-listen to this video. 2.22. Let's talk about alcohol, drugs, and driving. Alcohol and driving. Drinking alcohol and then driving is very dangerous and a serious problem. People who drink alcohol are involved in traffic accidents resulting in over 20,000 deaths every single year. Alcohol impairs muscle coordination, reaction time, depth perception, and night vision. It also affects the parts of the brain that control judgment and inhibition. For some people, 1 drink is all it takes to show signs of impairment. You should know how alcohol works on the human body. You should know how alcohol affects your driving. You should know the laws regarding drinking and drugs while driving. You should know legal, financial, and safety risks for drinking and driving. You may never drink while on duty, nor consume any intoxicating beverage, regardless of its alcohol content, within 4 hours before getting on duty. Remember, it is illegal to drive a commercial vehicle with a blood alcohol concentration that is 0.04% or greater, and doing so will result in an immediate administrative driver license sanction, in accordance with Code CVC 13353.2. You may also be convicted of driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. However, a blood alcohol content below 0.04% does not mean that it is safe or legal to drive. Let's talk about how alcohol works. Alcohol goes directly into the bloodstream and is carried to the brain. After passing through the brain, a small percentage is removed in urine, precipitation, and by breathing, while the rest is carried to the liver. The liver can only process 1/3 of an ounce of alcohol per hour, which is considerably less than the alcohol in a standard drink. This is a fixed rate, so only time, not black coffee or cold shower, will sober you up. If you have drinks faster than your body can get rid of them, you will have more alcohol in your body and your driving will be more affected. The blood alcohol content commonly measures the amount of alcohol in your body. See this figure here, figure 2.22, for a chart of your blood alcohol level. All of the following drinks contain the same amount of alcohol: a 12-ounce glass of 5% beer, or a 5-ounce glass of 12% wine, or 1.5 ounce or a shot of whiskey. What determines blood alcohol concentration, or BAC? It is determined by the amount of alcohol you drink. More alcohol means a higher BAC. How fast you drink. Faster drinks means a higher BAC and your weight. A small person does not have to drink as much as to reach the same BAC as a heavier person. Alcohol and the brain. Alcohol affects more and more of the brain as your BAC builds up. The first part of your brain affected controls judgment and self-control. One of the bad things about this is it can keep drivers from knowing they are getting drunk, and of course good judgment and self-control are absolutely necessary for safe driving. As BAC continues to build up, that's blood alcohol content, muscle control, vision, and coordination are affected more and more. Effects on your driving may include straddling lanes, quick, jerky starts, not signaling, failure to use your lights, running stop signs and red lights, improper passing. These effects mean increased chances of an accident and chances of losing your driver's license. Accident statistics show that the chance of an accident is much greater for drivers who have been drinking than for drivers who have not. Now, how alcohol affects your driving. All drivers are affected by drinking alcohol. Alcohol affects judgment, vision, coordination, and reaction time. It causes serious driving errors such as increased reaction time, driving too fast or too slow, driving in the wrong lane, running over the curb, or weaving. Let's talk about drugs. Besides alcohol, other legal and illegal drugs are being used more and more often. Laws prohibit possession of use of many drugs while on duty. They prohibit being under the influence of any controlled substance, amphetamines, including pep pills, uppers, and beanies, narcotics, or any other substance which can make the driver unsafe. This can include a variety of prescription and over-the-counter drugs like cold medicines, which may make the driver drowsy or otherwise affect safe driving ability. However, possession and use of a drug given to a driver by a doctor is permitted if the doctor informs the driver that it will not affect safe driving ability. Pay attention to warning labels for legitimate drugs and medicines and to the doctor's orders regarding possible side effects. Stay away from illegal drugs. Do not use any drug that hides fatigue. The only cure for fatigue is rest. Alcohol can make the effects of other drugs much worse. The safest rule is do not mix drugs while driving at all. Use of drugs can lead to traffic accidents resulting in death, injury, and property damage. Furthermore, it can lead to arrest, fines, and jail. It can also mean the end of a person's driving career. Illness. Let's talk about illness. Once in a while, you may become so ill that you cannot operate a motor vehicle safely. If this happens to you, you must not drive. However, in cases of an emergency, you may have to drive to the nearest place where you can safely stop. Hazardous materials. Rules for all commercial drivers. All drivers should know something about hazmat materials. You must be able to recognize hazardous cargo and know whether or not you can haul it without having a hazardous materials endorsement on your CDL. If you apply for an original or renewal hazmat endorsement, you must undergo a Transportation Security Administration or TSA Federal Security Threat Assessment background check. You start the TSA background check record check after you apply for your CDL at the DMV. Successfully complete all appropriate knowledge tests and submit a valid medical form. You must submit fingerprints, a fee, and any additional requirements in form to one of the TSA designated agents. You must also provide the TSA agent with a copy of your CLP and one of the following ID documents: a California driver's license or ID card, an out-of-state driver's license, your CLP accompanied by a DMV photo receipt. And for a list of TSA agents, go online to universalroll.dhs.gov. What are hazardous materials? Hazardous materials are products that pose a risk to health, safety, and property during transportation. Look at this picture here, this illustration of hazardous class definitions: explosives, gas, flammable, oxidizers, poison, etc. What are their rules? You must follow many rules about transporting hazardous materials. The intent of the rules is to contain the product, communicate the risk, ensure safe drivers and equipment. Now, containing the product. Many hazardous products can injure or kill on contact. To protect drivers and others from contact, the rules tell shippers how to package products safely. Similar rules tell drivers how to load, transport, and unload bulk tanks. These are containment rules. Now, communicating the risk. The shipper uses a shipping paper and diamond-shaped hazardous labels to warn dock workers and drivers of the risk. An accident of hazardous materials spill or leak, you may be injured and unable to communicate the hazards of the material you are transporting. Firefighters and police can prevent or reduce the amount of damage or injury at the scene if they know what hazardous materials are being transported. Your life and the lives of others may depend on quickly locating the hazardous materials shipping papers. For that reason, you must identify shipping papers related to hazardous materials or keep them on top of other shipping papers. You must also keep shipping papers in or on a pouch in the driver's door, clear view within reach while driving, a driver's seat when out of the vehicle. Lists of regulated products. Placards are used to warn other hazardous materials. Placards are signs put on the outside of the vehicle that identify the hazardous class of the cargo. A placarded vehicle must have at least 4 identical placards. They are put on the front, the rear, and both sides. Placards must be readable from all 4 directions. They must be at least 10 3/4 inches square, turned upright on a point in a diamond shape. Cargo tanks and other bulk packaging display the ID number of their contents on placards or orange panels. Identification numbers. Identification numbers are a 4-digit code used by first responders to identify hazardous materials. An ID number may be used to identify more than one chemical on shipping papers. The ID number will be preceded by the letters NA or UN. The U.S. Department of Transportation Emergency Response Guidebook lists the chemicals and the ID numbers assessed to them. Not all vehicles carrying hazardous materials need to have placards. The rules about placards are given in Section 9 in this playlist. You can drive a vehicle that carries hazardous materials if it does not require placards. If it requires placards, you cannot drive it unless your driver's license has the Hazmat Endorsement. Look at this figure here. This will show you illustration of hazardous placards. The rules require all drivers of placarded vehicles to learn how to safely load and transport hazardous products. They must have a CDL with a Hazmat Endorsement. To get the required endorsement, you must pass a knowledge test on material found in Section 9 of this playlist of these videos. A tank endorsement is required for commercial motor vehicles that transport liquid or gaseous materials within a tank or tanks having an individual rated capacity of more than 119 gallons on an aggregated rated capacity of 1,000 gallons or more. That is either permanently or temporarily attached to the vehicle or the chassis. A commercial motor vehicle transporting an empty storage container tank not designed for transportation with a rated capacity of 1,000 gallons or more that is temporarily attached to a flatbed trailer is not considered a tank vehicle. Note: a tank endorsement is not necessarily for the operation of vehicles that do not require a commercial driver's license. Drivers who need the Hazmat Endorsement must learn the placard rules. If you do not know if your vehicle needs placards, ask your employer. Never drive a vehicle needing placards unless you have the Hazmat Endorsement. To do so is a crime. When stopped, you will be cited, and you will not be allowed to drive your truck. It will cost you time and money. A failure to placard when needed may risk your life and the life of others if you have an accident. Emergency help will not know of your hazardous cargo. Hazardous material drivers must also know which products they can load together and which they cannot. These rules are also in this video playlist under Section 9. Before loading a truck with more than one type of product, you must know if it is safe to load them together. If you do not know, ask your employer and consult the regulations. Now it's time to test your knowledge. I'll ask you a few questions. You should know the answer in your mind. If not, re-listen to this video. Question number 1. Common medicines for colds can make you sleepy. Is this true or false? Number 2. Coffee and a little fresh air will help a drinker sober up. True or false? Number 3. What is a hazardous material placard? Number 4. Why are placards used? Now remember, these questions may be on your test. If you don't know the answer, please re-listen to this test. And we have completed this section. In the next video, we'll start Section 3.